for people who are not able to join. Oh, I see some chat window. We can see. Team, please mute. Okay, perfect. Okay, let's start. So, hey everybody, welcome to the second session on information strategy. Let the slides come up. And we talked last time. We talked a little bit about just a basic introduction on information technology, and what do we mean by information systems. And we uh, just shared very high level examples of what happens if information systems is not there, and how it kind of works a little bit. But today we'll go a little bit more into the still the topic of information technology, information systems, but a little bit more into what does it mean, and what kind of information systems exist, and how do we actually um, you know let's say create an information systems for a business process. So we will try to understand a little bit more about the business process. And what I have on the agenda is two items. So first is to just have a look a little bit at the assignment from last lecture, to just kind of have a little bit of a discussion around the case study we had from UPS. Hopefully some of you, hopefully all of you, but if not all, some of you may have had a chance to read the case study. So we'll talk a little bit about it, and then we will dive into some slides from chapter two of the Loudon and Loudon book. So that's on the agenda. Let's get moving. So last time I talked about yeah, that please read chapter one. Hopefully most of you had a chance to at least browse through the chapter and read some parts of it. And then I also requested please have a look at this case study about UPS. We'll talk a little bit more about it now. UPS is like a courier service, or like a postal service, this is actually full form for United Parcel Services. So it kind of delivers packages from one place to another. It's a US based company, or America based company. And yeah, it heavily uses information technology. So that's what we will talk a bit more about. And then, like I said, in this session today, we'll focus a little bit more about understanding the different technology, or let's say different kinds of IT systems that exist, and what is a business process. And so an IT system is trying to solve a problem that is generally exists in a business process. So we'll talk a little bit about that. Okay. So first, a little bit of a recap on um, the case study. Let me just see if my recording is working. Yeah, it's working. Everything is good. Okay. So um, anybody wants to share a little bit of you can come off mute, and you can share a little bit more about the UPS UPS package tracking system, and what are some of the inputs into it, you think, and some of the outputs. Any idea? Anybody wants to share some views?
Yes, teacher.
Please go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, the inputs of the UBS and uh, is include a package information,
Yeah.
customer signature, pickup or delivery, time-based data,
Yeah.
and current location, and also customer documentation. That's the input of the UBS.
Yeah.
And
Very good.
the processing of the UBS data transmitting to central computer and store or retrieve data, and also recognize that can be tracked by the customer account or data delivery or other criteria.
Yep. Yep. No, that's very good.
That's the
Omar, that was
process.
Omar. Yeah.
Okay, that's the process, and the output will become including pickup delivery,
Yeah.
big up the delivery time, location while on routine or package receipt,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
specific, as well as the summary report of for management. That's
Yep. Yeah. Very good, very good. Omar, that was Omar. I think Omar, that's very good summary. I would say a very good. I will admit other students. Very good answer. This is totally correct. So indeed, any information system you have to understand is made up of these three parts. There's an input into it, and that could be things like, hey, we input the customer record, like, hey, customer name is X, Y, and Z. The person lives in this location, and here's the package that customer has asked to be delivered. Processing is that it goes in. We need to figure out, hey, how, or with which aeroplane or with which kind of truck will this package actually go, and we need to process that information with all our data around what are the different tracks we're going to take throughout the city or throughout the country. And then the output is indeed that you get a route, on which route you're going to actually take, and then the output is also, the person will sort of sign the document, and that signature has to go back in to say confirm that yes, the order actually has been completed, etc. So yeah, that was very good. I think another question that I would want to ask, and somebody else can answer, is that maybe just what is the, let's say, the third question. So what strategic business objectives do UPS systems address? As in, why is the information system of UPS so critical? Do you think it's critical? And if it's critical, like, why is it so strategic? Why is so important? Anybody wants to share any views on it? Let me end with others. Feel free to also type. You don't have to like come off mute if that's okay. Feel free to type if you think why is this strategic, or what strategic business objectives do UPS system address, and I will wait for a minute and then I'll give an answer.
Yeah, yes, teacher.
Yes, Omar, go ahead.
UBS has a business objectives information address. Yes, UBS technologies have some business objectives and goals like scannable barcode and
Right,
DIAD and DIAD Cisco system and OMS. That's the main objectives of business objectives of UBS.
right. Okay, no, that's good, Omar. And indeed, so that's it's, if you think about UPS, or if you think about, I don't know which is the biggest postal service in Somalia. Like, I mean, if there's a company that is the biggest in terms of delivering packages, etc. But if you think about them, can you imagine that they can work without an information systems? I mean, can Amazon, everybody must have heard of Amazon, the company that exists, can we even imagine that it can work without information systems? Like, can they work? Can a UPS like company work without information systems? What would you say? I mean, you can type your thoughts, like, can we have a final goal is to maximize business profit and efficiency, taking advantage of the MIS, like doing service in the best. Yeah, very good, Ismail, very good answer, by considering competitors and other factors. Yeah, no, that's very good answer on the business objective one. And then, to my question, yeah, do you think a company like UPS or FedEx or DHL, or let's say Amazon even, can they actually survive without information systems?
Yes, teacher.
What do you say?
Yes.
You think it can? So what? Yeah, please go ahead.
No, I don't think so. I don't think it can survive without information system because
Yes, Isa, right? Yeah.
yes, because there is a huge information or a huge data. If we say the human being can do this service, it can take more time. But
Exactly. Yeah.
yes, but if we use information system, it can be done with a few minutes or in a few seconds.
Exactly. So, exactly, no, that is absolutely correct. And so, indeed, some of these companies that are the most advanced in terms of, getting your package in 1 day or 2 days, or getting your package from China to Africa, getting your package from China to Europe. I mean, these companies cannot survive without information system. They just cannot survive. They will be dead. The company is dead because if you don't have the information systems, I also agree with yeah, what Ismail is saying. These MIS systems, without them, they're like blind. They're like, what is the value of UPS if it cannot actually track a package, if it cannot actually figure out what is the best route of sending this package from one point to another? And for all those things, for figuring out the best route, but then also for tracking the package as it goes through the route, no, they use information systems. There is no way around it. There is absolutely no way around it. The only thing they do is that sometimes they can make these information systems themselves. So they themselves design it and build it. And sometimes they buy it from outside. So let's say they bought it from SAP, which we will talk about in a second. It's a company that makes big information systems softwares. And then you must have heard of Microsoft. So, sometimes they'll buy software from these, and sometimes they'll make it themselves, but they need to have a form of information systems, and if they don't have it, they just cannot yeah, they just cannot survive. So that is the importance of,
It's
so it's
unable.
so
Yes.
important, right? Yeah, please go
Yeah.
ahead.
Yeah. Yes. It may be not able to complete efficiently without technology.
Absolutely, Omar. So yeah, it's also, and even if they can survive, and they will not be efficient at all. Like they could survive probably like 100 days, 100 years ago, when technology was, let's say, limited. Okay, yeah, the company still survived, but they were not very efficient. Yeah.
Yes.
So,
Yes. Yes.
I think that's the main point as well. Agree. Okay, let's move on to the topic for today. So yeah, what I want to share a little bit more about is this concept of a business process, right? So information systems, they don't exist on their own. It's not like, hey, I have a business and I will just have whatever information systems I need. Information systems are always to support or to make more efficient or to kind of enhance a business process. So first thing first is a business process. If your company does not have a business process, or if there is no business process, okay, then information systems cannot really make anything efficient, because it's not about just buying software and thinking, well, it's just going to work on its own. No, you need to first have a
And
business process, and only if you have a business process, then you can think about, okay, what parts of the business process can I automate or make more efficient with the use of information systems. So in the chapter 2 of the book, in section 2.1, you can read a little bit more about like what's a business process. And I'll just read some of this just to give a sense, and there are some questions then coming to have a bit of a discussion amongst ourselves. So in order to operate, the business must deal with many different pieces of information. Just like we saw in UPS, you have to deal with many different pieces of information, whether it be supplier information, customer information, employee information, invoices, payments, products and services, etc. And what is a business process? I mean, a business process refers to, let's say, the approach or the way or the activities in which the work is organized and coordinated to actually have an end goal. So, for example, an example of a business process is, for the area of manufacturing, assembling the product. Then it will be a business process called assembling the product, and it will have like 10 steps, and it will say, hey, the first thing is, the product comes from the whatever the conveyor belts, and we will start to connect this piece to that piece, and then we will start to make sure that team has actually touched this and fitted it all together, and that's our completion of or assembling of the product. So it will always have like, it has like, few steps, and it will define what happens in each step, etc. So yeah, a business process is like a collection of activities to produce a product or a service. Now these activities themselves require information to flow, or materials to flow, or knowledge to flow between people and whoever is involved in the process. And and that is the this is the beginning of this is actually the beginning of how you can think about the information system. And so, for example, if you look at our emails, the business process there is not like a defined business process, but the business process is checking and responding to messages, right? That is what we try to do with email. Now, of course, we use the Google, a Gmail service for it, etc. But it exists to answer a process, that we have, which is, hey, we want to read who is sending us some messages, and we want to respond to those messages. That's our business process, and the product we use for it, or the software we use for it, is Gmail. So that's very important to understand. A software doesn't exist on its own. And also, if you don't have the clarity, or if a company does not have the clarity of what business process they are talking about, then they can buy 10 different software products or information systems, and it will still not be efficient. So yeah, always we need to start from the business process. Now, um, any questions, any things? I have a question to ask. I hear someone, so maybe I can ask you to go on mute, please. Yeah, thank you. So, yeah, we already, the company also needs to yeah, that was good. That was good. I'm thinking, okay, can you give examples of some business processes that you would have experienced? Like in your work, in your kind of work experience, or just as a as a customer of some product or some company. Can you give some examples of a business process? You can also type. Yeah, feel free to type, or feel free to speak. Anybody, any ideas? You can take the example of, yeah, bank products. Yeah, so bank product has a process, let's say, of checking your account. So you want to check how much money is in your account, and you want to maybe do a transaction. Yeah, those are like two processes: checking my account and doing a transaction. And so yeah, unless we are clear about the business process, we cannot really optimize or make it more efficient with IT or information systems.
Yeah, it's clear. Yeah.
And so, okay, agribusiness, customer satisfaction and retaining. Yeah, so indeed, so that's a good one. So customer satisfaction. So we see a lot of surveys that we receive at the end of, let's say, we received some service or we received some product, and then there's a process of understanding the customer satisfaction level, and that happens through, it could be an email that comes to you, or it may be a pop-up message that comes on the screen, or on your app. A pop-up message comes and says, hey, can you rate how was your service, etc. So yeah, that's like a customer satisfaction business process. And yeah, the key thing I'm trying to say is that um, the starting point of information systems is business process. So whenever whenever you go and start working somewhere, and you're working on information systems, your first question should always be, what is the business process I'm trying to make more efficient, or optimize, or enhance? Because a lot of software products exist, but they're all made for different purposes, right? And so unless we understand what is the purpose, what is the business process behind it, and what's the purpose of that business process, we can add 10 different software or 100 different software and still not get what we need. So yeah, that's very important. Let me see what Sakaria is saying here. before implementing any project of IT, especially financial or HCM systems, we have to make business process to gather required information to customize their needs. That's correct. That is a very correct. And we call it like, we call this step requirements gathering. So we sort of try to gather, hey, Mr. Finance or Miss Finance process or Miss Finance, department, what is your process? Can you tell us what will happen? What exactly needs to happen? Uh, from point A to point B, that we are trying to make an IT system for, or trying to make an IT solution for. So very important to keep this in mind, and very important to ask questions about it. So whenever you're working, ask about the business process, because many times um, even the businesses don't know what business process they actually have, and that results in them having information systems that they think, hey, this is not really helping us, because this is not what we wanted. But they never actually defined the business process in the first place. So very important to understand that. Okay, let me go back. Also, another question that I have is, again, it's just to give you the importance of information systems. So can we think about a business process that does not require information systems? So for example, and you can actually think of business process that does not require information systems. So for example, in the past, we would send each other letters, handwritten letters, and so we write the letter on a paper, we take it to a post office, we put it in a post office. Let's assume that post office did not have any information systems in it, and so the post office will collect all the letters, and then hand somebody manually will sort the letters from the name of the city and the name of the state or province, etc. And then somebody will pick up the relevant letters and go and deliver it in each of the houses on either on cycle or on foot. And so yeah, that is a business process that does not use information systems. And you can imagine with that, and with today using WhatsApp messages, why information systems is important, right? I mean, we just look at the speed of delivery and look at the convenience of today versus, let's say, maybe even 10, even 15 years ago, where there were no, we used to sort of write letters to people. So yeah, that's just for us to understand the importance of a business process. Let me go to the next slide. So yeah, once you have a business process, and let me make this full screen. Um, you see here, it's still loading. Yeah, you see here, this is an example of a business process, and this is how it actually needs to be written. It cannot just be like, oh, we do step A and then step Z is done automatically. No, you need to write down, the business needs to ideally write down, sorry, what are the exact steps that will take place for a business process. And so in this case, is the order fulfillment process, meaning somebody orders something and they need to receive a product. And so it goes through different departments. You can see that there's a sales department that generates the order and submits the order. And then there's an accounting department which says, hey, is this a correct order or not? It says, can we actually indeed ship them the product before getting the money, or have we got the money, have they paid for it, etc. Is the payment approved? Can we send them invoice back? And then it goes to manufacturing and production team, and they production department, and they says, oh, this is approved, this order has been approved, we need to now package and ship the product. And you see these like different steps and different departments. And so what at first appears to be a simple process in fulfilling an order is actually a very complicated process behind the scenes, to make sure that this actually is coordinated in a company. And to efficiently perform all these steps, it requires a lot of information at every step. And every arrow here can be delayed by like days or weeks if the information is not traveling properly between these two boxes. And so the required information must flow rapidly, both within the company and also outside, with business partners like customers or your suppliers, etc. And it's actually computer-based information systems make this possible. So it's all being made possible by information systems. And maybe a question that I have is, you know, a bit more about how. So how does the information system actually improve a process? So what does it do? Like, what does it do to the business process that now it is, you know, it's faster, or it is, you know, a bit better? What does it do? What would people want to share? I have the answer written below, so I'm trying to. Um, the factors like culture, religion, habits can affect MIS. Yeah, that's true. Um, yes. Some other answers on how, and when I mean how, I mean like you have a business process, and let's say you have information technology or a software. How does it improve it? Um, and maybe it's not very clear, so maybe I can share the answer a little bit already. It is by automating the steps in between, right? It is by making the information flow faster, and um, making the steps more automated. So instead of, let's say if you go to this previous example, instead of the accounting department waiting and saying, oh my god, the order was submitted but we never got a confirmation of payment, and we're just waiting to understand, was the payment ever made or not? And god, it's already been a week and a month, and we don't know where the payment actually is, and we don't know if the payment was actually made. Compare that situation to, oh, the payment was actually made, and the order was done, and the payment was made, and the information immediately came to the accounting department. And so what information system does is that it actually automates the flow of these flow of information between these boxes, and also makes it faster. So it goes faster, and it's also automated, meaning, no, it's not manual. A person doesn't need to actually take a paper from this department and move to this department. Of course that still happens, but the way, the how information system makes business processes better is by automation, and by increasing the speed of delivery of information. So that's really important to understand. Any questions or any thoughts, or any comments? And then I'll move to the next slide. Let's see, like account checking. Yeah, so imagine like account checking. I remember still when I was, maybe 15-20 years ago, if I wanted to know how much money is in my bank account, I had to actually go to a bank, and I had to carry a passbook with me, which would have printed on it the last time I went to the bank, and it said, oh, you have so and so dollars in your account. And then now I'm going after a month or 2 months, I have time to go to the bank again, and I go with my passbook, and then I give the guy the passbook like it's like a book, and then he will put it in the system, and it will print, oh, now you have Y number of dollars. And between the 2 months, between I went first time for the passbook to be checked and second time, I have no idea actually how much money is in my bank account, because there's no way to check. It's very manual process. If I want to check how much money is in my account, I have to actually go to the bank and give them the passbook and get it stamped. And imagine that to now, you can like immediately see, like within a second, you see how much money is in your account, and then you make a transaction to something, and then immediately you can see, oh, it was already deducted from your account, right? This is all possible because of information systems. And so, yeah, that's important to understand. And how it makes it possible is by automation and faster delivery. Then I think this is this is probably the last or second last point for today to understand. There are a lot of different types of information systems, right? Lot of different types of information systems. So for example, there's a payroll information system, or a payroll system, which is taking employee data and taking their let's say it's taking the general ledger, which is, let's say, the accounting data of the company, taking the employee data, accounting data, and then saying, hey, these are the salaries to be paid out, like employee paychecks go out. And then it will, the payroll can vary depending on which country you are in, because the taxes that are applied to your salaries can vary depending on countries you exist. So the payroll system needs to have all those functionality to make it specific to countries, etc. And so that's an example of a payroll. And then you can also have let's say an example of a management information system, which is something we will talk about in data analytics or in data analysis, which is, which is taking data from all the different major systems. So let's say order processing system, taking data from the materials and resource planning system, taking data from the finance accounting system. It takes all the data, and then it does sort of, let's say, applies analytics to it, or applies, some sort of analysis to it, and produces reports like, hey, how many sales did we make last year, and what was the total expense that we had for making those sales, and what was the total revenue that we created from making those sales. So these are more advanced systems, which could be called like management information. So this provides information to the management team to be able to understand how the company is functioning, and and whether we are on track or not, how much did we make last month compared to the month before, etc. So these would be, and it could have an online dashboard, like a dashboard with charts and graphs, etc. Whereas the payroll system will not have that kind of a dashboard per se, but it will have more information flowing from one bucket to another. And yes, you can still get some reports, but the primary job of the payroll system is to make sure that the paychecks are being paid to the employees. Yeah. So different kinds of information systems exist. And so I have a question. And in chapter 2, when you read chapter 2, you will see different kinds of information systems being mentioned. Let me see if someone is, yeah. Um, yeah, can you give an example of, I see Ismail is, and I see Sakari is also sharing some examples. So yeah, my question is, can you share different kinds of information systems that you've experienced? We talked about the banking one, we talked about the payroll one, and let me see what else you're saying. But in the meantime, please feel free to type more. So I see SSHR, so self-service, self-service kind of applications. Yes. ERP system. So ERP system is enterprise resource planning system, correct? These are generally from SAP, and other big players are also there. Includes many third-party systems like, yeah, sales, CRM, HR system, finance system, production system for manufacturing, etc. Very good. That's very good, Ismail. Good job. So indeed, those are the, yeah, university admission system. Isa, very good. That is true. The learning management system, right? So yeah, a lot of different kinds of information systems exist. And yeah, that's another thing we should remember. And of course, like I said, yeah, health information systems, exactly. And like I said, the information system actually needs to be connected to a business process. And that's why you can have different kinds of information systems, because they solve different problem, they solve a different business process, or they, let's say, address a different business process. So very important to understand that the business process drives the information systems, and therefore different business, because different business processes exist, there are different information systems that exist. Very good. Yeah, let's see. Let's move on. Okay, let's see. Let me make it. Oh, I will still keep small screen. 1 second. So on this slide, I have a name of some of the biggest IT or software or information system companies. Can somebody type which companies they know of, or they have seen, or they have worked before? Do you know these companies? SAP, Oracle, ServiceNow, Salesforce, Microsoft, Workday. Have you guys experienced working with any of these information systems, whether as a customer, or as you saw it in the company you worked in, or something like that? Oh, great. Okay, great. Oh, so Sakaria, you worked with Oracle, or worked at Oracle for 7 years. That's great. Let me just go up. That's great. So Oracle, I see Ismail is also mentioning Oracle. Yeah, water payment management system is also a good example of a type of information system. Sakaria, good. Oracle, Microsoft, Muhammad Ahmed is saying that's good. Oracle DBMS. DBMS is a database management service. So yeah, that's good. what Salesforce does. Okay, I'll share that, Hassan, in a second. I have used the Oracle for staff information management. Yeah, great. I worked as DBA for 3 years, or database administrator for 3 years. Yeah, that's good, Dahir. Thanks for sharing. So yeah, all good questions, and looks like most people have worked with Oracle. Let me take a minute to just share like what these companies are mostly famous for. Okay, so SAP is a German company. It's from Germany, and it is the biggest company for what we call enterprise resource planning, so ERP systems. And it has all kinds of information systems built into it. So for example, finance, if you want to do your accounting, like, hey, how much revenue did we make, what was the cost, and by the way, which cost came from which location or which factory, and how much did we sell in which province or which city, and and how much tax do we have to pay to the government on these sales, and by the way, what was our detailed analysis of the cost, the breakdown of the cost between how much did the manpower cost was, and how much was the product raw material cost, etc., etc. um, that is part of SAP. If you want to also measure how you know you manage your facility, let's say you have like a big factory and you have a lot of equipment installed on it, and you want to maintain that equipment, right? You need to know, well, which equipment is where, and what is it made up of, and when was it last serviced, meaning when was it last maintained, or worked upon by a maintenance person. Then also SAP is your system. It has that kind of a maintenance material management module. It has a like I mentioned, the finance module. It has a HR module. It has lots of different modules all bolted together. So yeah, that's SAP is one of the biggest ERP systems in the world. And then Oracle is famous for two things. Let me see if there are some questions. No, just quickly. So yeah, Oracle is famous for two things. One, it is famous for its database. So all these big information systems, that we just talked about, like UPS. We talked about UPS requiring, it's collecting input and is collecting data from customer on the sale, is kind of processing it. Okay, all of that requires big databases. Where are you going to store all this data? So Oracle is famous for its database, which is one of the best in the world in the way it's organized, easy to find your data, easy to store your data, easy for applications to use your data, etc. Plus, it also has a ERP kind of a software package as well. So it also does, materials management. It also does, finance management, etc. So those processes can also be addressed by Oracle. Salesforce, let me talk about Salesforce. So Salesforce is particularly about how do you manage sales of an organization. So let's say you have a business, it is making whatever, let's say it's making, yeah, it's making, the forks, knives, and that kind of thing. So it's making spoons, forks, and knives. Let's assume that, right? And so you have a business of making, all these kind of equipment for lunch and dinner. Now you are selling it, and you're reaching out to a lot of different customers to sell it. And some customers are just at the initial stage. You're going to them 2-3 times to talk to them. Hey, I've got a really good package of spoon, forks, and knives. Hey, why don't you buy it from me? And and you kind of having conversations. I will give you some for free. Maybe you can have one spoon and one fork for free. And then you are in the sales cycle, what is called a sales cycle, meaning you're in the business process of selling something. Now, Salesforce is actually the best software product to manage your sales force, meaning your salespeople, because salespeople are going everywhere. They're talking to so many different people, trying to sell the product, and then every customer for them is at a different stage. Some are at the beginning stage, meaning they just met you once and they're like, I'm not sure I like this spoon and fork, don't come to me next time. And some would be like, oh, I like it, but I'm not sure if I want to buy it today. Maybe I have gonna have a big gathering or a big kind of feast, a month's time from now, and maybe then I will consider buying it. So all this information that the salespeople are collecting about potential customers, they can actually put it in Salesforce, and it can track for them in a much better manner that, hey, look, you went to this customer a month ago and he said that when there's a feast, come to me then. And now is the time, because now the feast should be coming in a week's time. Can you go again to that customer? So it's that kind of a product. Yeah. So hopefully that helps to understand what Salesforce is. um what else? Let me just, Microsoft. Yeah, we all know Microsoft. So we use Skype. That's from Microsoft. What else? In a lot of companies, like I work in Shell, so we use Word document, PowerPoint. That's all coming from Microsoft. But Microsoft also is very big in what we call cloud technology, and we will talk about it in the emerging technologies course. Where we can store the data on the cloud, you can process the data in the cloud, etc., etc. Workday is another very fast growing company about HR processes. So how do you manage an employee? How do you pay them? But also how do you, let's say, manage their leaves, or manage their performance reviews, etc. So Workday is really in that space. ServiceNow. ServiceNow is a company most of you will, I think, see in some point in time in the coming years. I think because it is the biggest company that is used for what is called IT service management, which is about how do you manage IT issues. So let's say you have an information system and that is not working. It just broke down. Like we have with our learning management system, right? We have a learning management system. There are a lot of issues we are finding in it, and we are of course sending those issues through WhatsApp messages to the IT team. And of course, the IT team is, I think, trying to do their best to solve these issues. But in a big company, like in a company like Shell, that is not how you will manage the issues from information systems, right? I mean, we will not WhatsApp to an IT team, hey, here are my issues. So you need a system, you need a process and a system to manage IT issues. How do you manage it, and how do you track what all IT issues are there, which IT issues have highest priority and must be solved within the next few hours, and which have, let's say, low priority and can be solved in next month, etc. And so ServiceNow is the most dominant company in what we call IT service management. And so if you join any organization as an IT analyst, or let's say ICT analyst, then sooner or later you will come across ServiceNow. And my only tip to all of you is, my only tip, my suggestion and my kind of request to all of you is that if you get an opportunity to work with any of these products, or products from any of these companies, take this opportunity. These companies are going to grow and grow and grow. There's nobody that can stop these companies from growing. So the more you can learn about the products or the software from these companies, the more you can become an expert in their software or in their product, the better you will do in your career. So yeah, please. And I think one point I do want to mention is that in the emerging technologies course that we will do together as well, for the data and analysis part, we will actually look at Microsoft's product and we will work with it. So I will work with you guys on the data analysis product of Microsoft, which is called Power BI. And we will sort of work through some problems through that product. So everybody hopefully will get to experience that product and learn a bit more about it. But yeah, my only tip or my only request is, or my suggestion is, if you ever get an opportunity, please take it with both hands. These companies are not going anywhere. They're going to be here for 50 years. So please, I mean, if you can become an expert in their product, that's great. That is great. Okay. I think that brings me almost to the end of this second lecture. I want to suggest some assignment for next class. So assignment for you to do between now and the next class. So please read chapter 2 of Loudon and Loudon book. It has things around what we just talked about, the business processes and the types of information systems. And Also there's a case study on Procter and Gamble. How many of you know Procter and Gamble? Have you heard of this company, Procter and Gamble? You're welcome, Abba Sheikh, no worries. Yeah, Procter Abdullah, you have heard of it. Yeah, so Procter and Gamble makes, a lot of, I would say, products like, soap, soap, different kinds of soap they make. They make what we call consumer products. So, noodle, you will see they make all kinds of things. I can only think of now soap and detergents, but actually, yeah, hygiene products. Yeah, that's right. Like creams, they will make creams, and so it is a company that we call is in the industry of fast moving consumer goods. So yeah, PNG, exactly. So Isa, that's right. So it's PNG. It's fast moving consumer goods, and it is one of the best companies in using information systems. So hey, somebody is off mute. Please go on mute if possible. Yeah. So yeah. There's a case study about Procter and Gamble. So please read it, and we will discuss the questions from that case study in the next session for the first 15 minutes. So and this time, Omar, you shared really good answers, but I am expecting also other students to please come up and share their answers in the next session. Okay. And in the next class, we'll focus a bit more about how IT fits into a business or a company. How does it impacts and how does it fit into, like, there's an IT department in a company. What does it do and how does it fit into the company? So we'll talk a bit more about that. I do want to take a few minutes to just share that, hey, uh, here is the 4 topics we will cover in this information strategy course, right? We will spend about 2 hours per topic. And so we just completed the introduction of information technology. We spent 2 hours on this now, and then we will now go into the business impact of information technology in the next lectures. And then I think the time that I am now, yeah, I'm just gonna mute if somebody, no worries, Mahmoud. I'm recording this session, so hopefully you can read through it. Okay, let me go back. Now, I would like people to just type in quickly, because I think what I'm going to agree now is that for the information strategy course, we use the Wednesday time of 6:30 to 7:30 Mogadishu time every Wednesday. So every Wednesday, 6:30 to 7:30, we can reserve for information strategy classes. So if you can please, ping in the box if this is good or not good, that will be helpful. And then I also want to actually share the schedule for emerging technologies class, which we will start from Sunday onwards. But hey, first, can people just quickly type if this works? Wednesdays, 6:30 to 7:30. Okay, perfect. Yeah, Abdi Wahid, sorry if I did not pronounce your name correctly. The slides are available, and I will share in a second how best to get it. Yeah, I will share that. Okay, good. Please, student representatives, please, make sure
Excellent,
you
excellent.
share with the students that this is the time we will stay with on Wednesdays. Okay.
Sir, I have a small question if you don't mind.
Yeah, please go ahead. Abdullah, go
Your
ahead.
last session, you told us that we have to read case study. So does the case study have marks or points or just reading?
Sorry, does the case study have? I didn't fully understand, Abdullah.
Yeah. I mean, last time or last session, you said to us to read a case study. We don't discuss that. I got late this session to come.
Okay. We did discuss. Okay. If you were late, then well, then you missed it, because we did discuss the case study for the first 15 minutes.
Okay, thank you. Just it's discussing. It's not about marking or points.
No, no, it's not. No, no, I think no, no, it's not. It is not for final grade, so don't worry about it like that. I mean, I will share how the, I will actually share more about like how the exam will be structured. But this is just, the case study is just to kind of test, do you
Thank you.
understand the principle?
Thank you.
Do you
Thank you.
understand?
Thank you very much, sir.
Perfect, perfect. Okay, that's good. Then, okay, hopefully we agree that we will stick with the class schedule of Wednesday, 6:30 to 7:30 Mogadishu time. Yeah, and hopefully, it's not impacting your prayer time or dinner time. So that's good. And I want to share a little bit about this, so we can use the 5-10 minutes to share this and how to get the slides. So we also have a course called Emerging Technologies, right? Which also I will take and work with all of you on. Now, here is I took the feedback that we talked about last time, that, hey, you guys want to learn more about data analytics and data analysis, and you want to sort of, spend more time on that topic and learn more about it. So what I agreed with, let's say, the other faculty members, and, this is my thinking, we will start the Emerging Technologies course from this Sunday. So from the coming Sunday, we will use the slot of 4 to 5 p.m. Mogadishu time. And
Yes, teacher. Yes, teacher.
is this timing
This
is
one,
good, right?
this time is clashes to another class.
You have another class at this time? Oh,
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
no,
No, it's
Omar,
on
no,
Saturday. Come on,
no.
it's on Saturday.
Saturday. Sunday we don't have a class.
Oh, sorry.
yeah.
Sorry.
I think you may have the behavioral classes, I think, on Saturday and not
Yep,
Sunday.
Yes.
yep, that is on Saturday.
Yes,
Okay,
that's
perfect,
right.
perfect. No,
That's right.
thank you,
That's
thank you.
right.
I'm trying my best to find the time that can work for everybody. So, okay, great. So if that is good, then that's good. What I want to share is that in the emerging technologies, we will first take the first 2 hours, like the first two classes. We will focus just on, sharing about the latest technologies that exist. So, technologies like cloud. Do you know about cloud? Technologies like big data, IoT, Internet of Things, technologies like blockchain, technologies like, these are the big ones I can think of. But, we will take the first two classes to go through these big technologies, just to introduce and for you guys to understand, what these technologies are, and what is the benefit and why is it, why is like artificial intelligence considered such a big deal. So yeah, I will share about that in the first two classes. And then the next 6 classes, we will actually spend time going to this place. So this is the so we will actually work with Microsoft's product. Yeah, so we will go to Microsoft Learn website, which I have, the link is in the slide, and we will actually do some we will actually take the track of data analyst. So let's assume you are a data analyst, right? So you have different roles here. Can you see my screen? You have different roles here, and you see data analyst. You go to data analyst. When you go to data analyst, you come with this screen, and it has got a lot of different modules. How do you work with Power BI? Power BI is the Microsoft's product for data analysis and, making dashboards and reporting it out, etc. So we will pick the modules like analyze data with Power BI, model data in Power BI, and we will work through it. And so there will be some homework that I will expect from you, but I will also help you go through these modules, and I will do these modules with you. So I will kind of do it with you, along with you. So we both kind of do it so that, you are learning, but also, I can help you where you get stuck. But with this, hopefully when we end the 6 hours, or when we end like the course, you will understand the Power BI product, which is, one of the most popular products for Microsoft for data analytics. So I hope you guys are excited about this, because I'm very excited about this one. It is the best way to make you learn. I mean, of course, the theory and the concepts are all good, but the most learning comes from doing it, actually doing the thing, right? And so I'm really eager that you guys, get your hands dirty with this topic, and, you go in it. We will start to work with it and see how it actually looks like. So yeah, that's the plan for the emerging technologies. Yeah, I wanted to share this, and then quickly about the slide. So can I check everybody has access to oh, I see some questions. I see, do I need previous programming experience for me to become data analyst? No, you don't need previous programming experience, Abdullah, to become data analyst. No, you don't. You do need to understand and be eager to learn about data, but you don't need programming language. And yeah, okay, that's good. What I was going to say is that, does everybody have access to the Google Classroom? So that is this place here, yeah, where I'm posting the slides, where I'm posting some messages, and you know, I'm posting some updates, etc. Everybody
Sorry
has
for the
access.
interruption. We do have, but the problem is like we cannot download these slides. That's what I have experienced so far.
Oh, okay, so you can see the slide, but you cannot download it, is it? So you can
Yes, true. Yeah. I cannot download, but I can see the slides.
you cannot download it if you want. Okay, then what I will do is, I don't want to send an email from the learning management system, because the moment I send an email from it, it will just be a lot of emails. So can I do this? Okay, I will send these slides through WhatsApp to the student representatives. And then can I please request that the student representatives share it with the rest of the class? Yeah,
Yeah, seems
is that
great. That's
better?
great, sir.
Okay, perfect. So let me make sure I send the slides of lecture 1 and lecture 2 both through WhatsApp. And then please, you know, I appreciate if the student representatives can, you know, send it to other students. Okay, I think that is all I had for today.
Also, teacher,
Yes,
Share
question,
WhatsApp.
Omar, go ahead.
also we request you to post a video recorded to the
Oh
lecture.
yes, so I've got the recording. I will post the recording. I need to still see where I can exactly post the recording. Hopefully, I can post it in the classroom, in the Google Classroom, and hopefully you can access it. But yeah, I will post it, and then let's stay connected on WhatsApp. So I will message after I've posted, and you can let me know, can you hear it or not hear it, etc. Can you access it or not access it? And then if you can't access it, then I will figure out a way to, you know, get us the access. Okay. Okay, then I suggest everybody, you know, have a good evening, enjoy your dinner and your family time, and yeah, I will see you on Sunday. Yes,
Thank,
Abhishek, I'll share the slide on WhatsApp. I'll do that. Yes.
thank
Yeah,
Okay.
final
Thank you
moment,
very
can
much.
I?
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead. There we have a
Yeah, I
video.
was asking like this session has been recorded. You mean that you're going to post the video if in case if someone missed the class?
Yes, I will post the video. Yes.
All
Abdullah,
right,
yes.
thanks. Have a
Yes,
good time.
I'll do that. Okay. Then thank you, everybody. Have a good evening.
have a
Okay.
good
Bye
evening.
bye.
Have a good evening.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye bye. Bye bye.